And so Harry and Larry parted ways, off they went, and we will join them again when Harry met Larry the next time. It was at the end of April in 2020. Larry, mate, how you doing? How you getting on? Struggling. For real? Why? What's up? Well, we're still not seeing customers. It's still hard. Yeah, I still can't go and visit them. I still can't go and work my magic. You know how I like to work with them. I do, but can't remember the stuff we talked about last time. Haven't you done any of that? Yeah, I did a little bit on LinkedIn. Um, I I tried a couple of video calls, but they weren't so good. Mate, remember, I never said it was easy. When you said you did a little bit on LinkedIn, what do you do? I changed my profile. And that's it. Did you do any postings? How do you mean? Well, did you put anything up on there? Like what? Well, like interesting information for customers about things that you're doing, about stuff that they might find helpful in the current climate, about yourself, about anything really. Stuff that people can look at and learn a little bit more about you from. I'm not doing anything. Well, so how are you expecting it to work? Remember I talked about that model where we've got pen, WOP, FOP. Pen is penetration. So pen was about the platform. WOP is your weight of posting. So this is about putting things out there that people will find interesting. People will be able to look and like and comment on. I'm not really doing anything of that. That's something you definitely need to do. Definitely need to do. I'm using it quite a lot now, and people are responding, and we're having conversations. And to be honest, it's opened up a couple of opportunities. That's it. Yeah, it's early days, but we're starting some discussions. But yeah, I'm concentrating on trying to put something valuable out at least once a day. That's my FOP. That's my frequency of posting. Okay. But I don't really know what to say. Just look around. Look around at what's going on. You can provide so much value. Think of when you had a conversation with a customer. What was it that they were asking you? How did you answer them? And give that information out. Look at what other people are posting. Don't copy them, but you can certainly think, well, if that's what people are posting, that seems to be what people are interested in. I'm a bit worried about doing that. Worried about what? Well, putting myself out there. Mate, that's our job. We're salespeople. That is what we do. We go, we talk to people, we connect. This is another way in which we can connect. And we need to be connecting and talking and influencing as many people as possible. Well, I suppose I can't really argue with that. You can't. No, you can't, because it's true. And I've been doing a little bit more work around learning things that can help me to sell better. You don't stop, do you? No, why should I? It's our job to keep developing. It's our job to keep getting better, to keep pushing forward. So what have you learned now? So my latest thing is a thing called opportunity management. Go on. So opportunity management, it's really about understanding how people make decisions and what's important to them. Hasn't it always been that? Yes, it has. But what I'm finding is I don't think we've been going enough deeper. Deep enough. Well, we've been doing this stuff for 10 years and it's always been good enough before. Mate, remember, stuff is changing. Stuff is changing at pace. So we really need to be thinking about how we can start to understand people in the decision and starting to answer questions like, how do they make those decisions? What are they thinking? What's important to them? What challenges do they have? What issues, what concerns exist? What goals have they got? What aspirations do they have? That's a lot of stuff. It is a lot of stuff, but that's the level we need to be selling now. We need to get as deep as possible to provide information that's going to help with all those things. And we've got to do it for a lot of people. Yeah, I usually try to speak to a couple of people in an account. I reckon you're probably not speaking to enough. How can you say that? Quite easily, really. I'm just basing that on research. One of the things that we've seen from some research coming out is that whereas a couple of years ago, we were probably needing to speak to 5, 6 people in the count, that went up last year to about 8. Now, figures are saying that on average, and this is industry average, we should be speaking to 11, 12 people. And I know with our kind of sale, that's absolutely right. That many? Yeah, that many. And just think about it. All the people that are now wanting to get involved and having some kind of say in what we do. I guess you're right, and I'm not really sure I do speak to that many. No, I wasn't, but this stuff has really opened my eyes. And so I've started to take a far more structured approach in how I take each opportunity and I manage that. So I've started to really understand a discipline called opportunity management. Go on then. Every time I meet you is like a little mini training session. You ought to come along with me and learn this stuff. I'm putting myself through it because I know I want to make a difference. I haven't got time. I don't think you've got time not to, but look, that's a different argument. Let me tell you about what I've been learning about opportunity management. Please do, mate. So, opportunity management. This is different to activity management, which you'd know about putting stuff in the pipeline. Yep, getting stuff in the top doesn't all come out the bottom, so we need to have kind of good level of activity to keep on top of things. Bang on. And account management is something that's slightly different too. Why? It sounds pretty much the same thing though. No, so account management is the overall account plan. It's what we're doing in the grander scheme of things, and that needs certain skills. But opportunity management, it's specifically about looking at a certain project, a certain opportunity, a certain chance we've got to sell something, and managing that through certain process to be able to get to the point that we can close, negotiate, win the deal, basically. So selling then. Yeah, selling. Absolutely, it is selling. But as selling is becoming more complex, and our sales is complex anyway, we need to think about what can we do to understand all those different dynamics and keep track of what's going on. So how do you do that then? Well, I found something which is pretty cool and simplified it for me. And it's positioned as like a 9-box matrix, a 9-box model, in that there are 9 boxes of information that we need to understand. Go on then, talk me through. What are these 9 boxes? What do I need to know? Well, let's start off at high level. There's 3 key things. We need to understand information, so we've got to get data. We've talked about the number of people involved, so we've got to understand the DMU, the decision-making unit. And then we've got to think about what decisions we're going to make, what actions do we have to put in place. Yeah, that's selling. It is, you're right. So we're not doing anything different here. But what this does, it really makes us think about certain things in a certain way. So when we look at data, what we're doing is we're thinking about who is the account and what is the opportunity. Does the opportunity make sense for us? We've got to qualify. Qualify out. Yeah, mate, qualify out makes a lot of sense. It's not something that we're necessarily very good at. You're right. I do actually find that pretty hard. We all find it hard. It kind of goes against the grain. But if we are quite objective about it, if we know the criteria that we need to look at, we can make that decision far easier based on the stuff that we know makes a difference with the kind of opportunity that we're looking for. Okay, so we work the account, we pick the opportunity. What next do we do? I like to then think about the competition. Shouldn't we be thinking about ourselves? We should, but what's the harm in thinking about who else we might be selling against? Because we know one of these is going to be status quo anyway, is do nothing. So we can think about, we're going to sell against do nothing. We might have competitors, so people that are also going to try and win that business. And so now we need to think about what is our position. Well, what do you mean by position? So position is how well positioned are we to win this business? Are we quite hot for winning that? Are we quite cold? Are we somewhere in between? And I use that as a constant thermometer, as a temperature check as to how well I'm doing here. Okay, and so what do you base that on? Well, I'll base that on the people. So I'll base that on the decision-making unit. And we've done this stuff before, haven't we, where we've mapped out the decision-making unit. Oh yeah, I remember this stuff. I'll still do it. So people, so who are they? What's the name? What's the job? And what role do they play in making the decision? Yeah, go on, mate. So yeah, the role, that was about whether they were users, whether they were people who were basing a decision on criteria, I think. Yep, that's right. Technical criteria or commercial criteria. Yeah, there was the big decision maker, big decision maker. What do we call that? We call that the economic buyer. Remember, we didn't want to call decision maker because then it takes away from the focus of the whole decision making unit. Yeah, got it. Yeah, it was the economic buyer and the coach. Yeah, the coach, sponsor, the person who's going to help us. Yeah, they're right. So what else did we think? Let me think. So yeah, so when we talk about what were the needs, what was it they're trying to fulfill? What wants did they have? What would be a win for them? What are we trying to satisfy? Yep, absolutely. That's what we're looking at. And so then I remember we were looking at the kind of the influence that they had on the decision. So whether they were with us or against us, and how strong that influence was, whether people really listened to them or not. Yeah, absolutely. That was it. That's totally what we were doing. So what's new then? Well, what's new is I'm getting far more disciplined at doing that, but then I take the information and I process it. So I'll start to look at the actions I've got to take. So we know if we're missing information, then we need to fill that out. Yeah. So I kind of summarize that into one of the boxes. I then look and go, right, so what would be possible? What could I do as a result of it? And from the possible actions, I then kind of look at it from a reality perspective and go, right, so what are the best actions? What's going to give me good bang for my bucks? How can I put that stuff in place? And so it gives me a really clear roadmap of what I'm doing in every opportunity, how I need to move it forward, and how I can work better because I'm clearer in my thinking. But that's what I kind of do anyway. Listen to what you just said. What did I just say? You said kind of do anyway. Well, yeah, it is what I kind of do. Well, the point is we're getting less kind of and far more deliberate in the stuff that we're doing because we know that is going to really make a difference for us. Yeah, no, I can see that. It sounds like a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but it's our job. And we get in we get out what we put in. If I put in the work, if I understand this stuff, if I can spot areas in which I can help somebody, if I can work with somebody, something I've not done, something that somebody else is doing better and I need to work against, I can be far more effective in my sales job. That for me is what modern selling is really coming down to. We need to be far more structured and thoughtful in how we are influencing all the people that are involved in these decisions. Yeah, it's difficult for me to argue against, but I think it's what I just do naturally. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I did, again, remember, we've been pretty successful, but when you start to map it, you see the things that you're not doing. Also, remember a lot of the things that people were looking for, this has changed now. And if we're not careful, kind of looking at things with our old perspectives rather than what is it they need, what is it they want, what are key issues and priorities for them here and now in this current climate. And that stuff's changing. And I want to be very deliberate in keeping track of that and making sure that I'm doing the best job possible. Makes sense. Every time I see you, I feel as though I'm leaving with homework. Well, I'm not a teacher. You're not a schoolboy, you're a professional salesperson. It's there to help you do that. Yeah, I guess. No, that's good. Oh, it just feels terribly overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff here that's hard, you know. It's hard. I didn't say it was easy, but look, I'm here to help, mate. And by giving you these structures, I mean, this stuff that I'm learning, I want you to succeed. I want you to move forward. And when we next chat, I want to see that smile back on your face. The stuff I used to see. Yeah, I don't always feel like smiling so much now. Try to control the controllables. Do the stuff that you can. Have a better understanding of things, and you will feel they're in a far better position. Trust me, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm staying so upbeat. It's really helping. Yeah, I'm pleased for you, mate. Bit envious, actually. Do this stuff. It works. I promise you. Okay. Well, I'll see. And so that's how Harry and Larry's discussion went. And interesting. It seems that as we're getting into the middle of the year, that Harry was doing far better than Larry. He was adopting new thinking. He was open to new ways of working. He was keeping positive mindset. He was pushing himself out of the comfort zone. Larry, not so much so. We could hear his struggles. He's finding it quite tough. So let's jump into a bit later in the year when they met up again.